Business decisions have to be made. Cuts have to be done. We've got our 53, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. The NFL's deadline to cut everybody's roster down to 53 was today, and the Cardinals made some tough cuts. Let's talk about it. All right. The Cardinals made some tough cuts to the roster. Nothing surprising, really. Most of these players will end up on our practice squad anyway, but let's go ahead and take a look. On offense, the players that were cut today were wide receiver Andre Bachelia. I've always had struggle even saying his name, but Andre's been in the squad since like 2021. He went undrafted in 2020 out of the University of Washington. Played for the Chiefs for a little bit, the Patriots, then the Patriots, and then signed with us in 2021. He didn't really see much action at all, at least not on the field, until 2022. He played 8 games for us. He caught 7 balls for 45 yards, no scores. Pretty underwhelming and really like the definition of a journeyman. Maybe just like a roster filler kind of spot, but this is kind of how it's been with Andre. But he's lasted on the squad for about 4 years, so he's one of the longer tenure Cardinals outside of Kyler Murray. Didn't see the field in 2023 or 2024, so he's clearly a practice guy. Likely ends up in the practice squad, ready to join the active roster in case we suffer any injuries to the wide receiver room. But, it is what it is. You got to cut somebody out, right? Tight end Oscar Cardenas was an undrafted rookie free agent that we picked up this year. He played 6 seasons at the University of Texas, San Antonio, finishing as the school's all-time leader in, receptions, yards, and touchdowns. He went undrafted, signed with the Cardinals, but, that tight end room is stacked. We got our star, Trey McBride. Elijah Higgins is pretty damn good, and Ted Ryman's a veteran, and he's been around. He knows he's the glue guy. So Oscar was clearly the odd man out. He'll end up on the practice squad for sure. We'll see what happens with him, but I don't really know or think anyone will pick him up unless they see some kind of potential in him, but which is always possible. But yeah, he's probably gonna be a practice squad guy if he sticks around. Offensive lineman McClendon Curtis went undrafted in 2023. He spent the offseason with the Raiders before moving on to the Seahawks and then us this last season, but really hasn't seen the field at all. Lineman Roy Baitika. Man, I don't even know how to say your last name, Roy. I'm sorry. I apologize. But Roy went undrafted in 2023 too. He played for the Giants, the Bears, and the Browns, never suiting up for any of them in an actual game. He spent the offseason with us once again. This time around? Yeah, but once again fell short of an active roster. It's just he's one of those guys who might just not have it. Maybe he's hit his ceiling skill-wise, physically, and all kinds of stuff. So when those guys kind of fall out like that, there's really not much they can do, and not much teams are willing to give up, right, in terms of leaving, giving to somebody else, taking someone else's roster spot to keep them on. So it's what it is. Lineman Donovan West. West entered the draft in 2022 out of Arizona State, but went undrafted. Stints with the Niners before he left the NFL, went to play for the Vegas Vipers and the St. Louis Battlehawks before getting a shot at the NFL once again to the Cardinals. But he was cut today. More than likely, his ceiling is going to be, XFL, CFL type of stuff. Or maybe, if he improves enough, he could be like a third string guy on a team that needs linemen. Never look past guys that get cut, linemen that get cut. Lineman injuries happen every single game. More than likely, someone will pick him up and need some depth. But I could see him being on our practice squad for a while. Wide receiver Nate McCollum out of North Carolina might be one of the ones, might be the one whose release might be a little bit of a kick in the nuts for him. He went undrafted this last draft. He signed with the Giants in the offseason, got cut. Signed with the Seahawks, got cut. Then he signed with us. He had I don't know if you guys saw it. He had a slick toe touch catch, and then he got cut. I mean, damn, somebody give young dude a chance. He's got the skill, he can play, but it's just he just doesn't fit anywhere just yet. 3 teams and all of them cut him in the offseason. It's tough goings for a guy like Nate McCollum, but again, another guy that could be in the practice squad that get called up eventually. And then the one we're all waiting for, Clayton Tune, quarterback. Clayton Tune's been released and will likely sign into the practice squad because let's face it, outside of the CFL, who's going to sign Clayton Tune? I mean, seriously, right? And again, he knows he's been around so long. He knows the playbooks. He's our tush push guy, and he's just a body to have. And he's good on the practice squad. So that's what they're gonna end up doing with him, for sure. I don't see him going anywhere. Anyone coming to get him? It's just incredibly unlikely. So, the defense, cornerbacks, Iko Boydo and Stephen Gilmore have been released. Gilmore, the younger brother of Stephen Gilmore, went undrafted in 2023, signed with the Lions, left the NFL for a season to play for the Birmingham Stallions, and came back with the Cardinals, but he got cut today. Boydo, similar story for him out of Kansas State, but this DB room is stacked with talent. So it's not hard to see why those two were cut. With a lot of guys, we have a lot of guys, a lot of corners. We don't, if these guys weren't to a certain level, we weren't going to keep them off to the practice squad for those guys for sure. Defensive linemen. Patrick Jenkins is gone, as are linebackers V. Jones and Benton Whitley. I believe Whitley's been on the squad for a minute, but now off to the practice squad as well. All in all, tough cuts to make depth-wise for sure, but no big surprise in this year's cuts. Although we should expect some more depending on who gets cut around the league. You guys know, if Monty goes out, right, someone cuts somebody that's it's worth picking up, we'll definitely see another cut, somebody lose their spot to bring somebody else in, maybe a veteran or something, but no big names have been out just yet. And so it's at this point, who knows what's going to happen. So those are the cuts for the Cardinals. It's 2 weeks from season, so we'll see how that pans out. All right, is the Jonathan Gannon honeymoon over? I don't expect much from our local sports guys. I mean, turn your radio on to your local sports station in the morning, and what do you hear? Like, regardless of who your team is, some salty dude on a microphone making mountains out of the smallest molehills, and it's no different in Arizona. Sports talking head Dan Bickley, who came to Phoenix from Chicago just a few years ago, is one of the guys who just can't be happy with anything ever. I mean, we could be in a Super Bowl bound team, and the dude could find something dumb to complain about, but that's their job. They got to get you to listen, so they'll say some wild stuff. If you guys don't, if you guys want an example, rage baiters on social media. That's how they work. That's how they get paid. But I hate to admit it, because I'm not a big fan of Bickley. He may have a point here. In this sports journalism world of deadlines, they need to put something out every day. He wrote, quote, Jonathan Gannon's honeymoon as Cardinals head coach is over, end quote. His point is that JG was a great hire, which I agree with. He said, Bickley said he's, quote, smart and dependable. It has made a culture change in the locker room. Well, I said the culture change in the locker room. But either way, we both agree on that. Bickley argues that Gannon needs to deliver a playoff run in Arizona this year before his seat gets hot. Bickley argues that Gannon must deliver results now that he's in year 3 as head coach. Okay, agreed. Here's the thing. The media creates the hot seat, right? Everyone starts talking about these guys like, are they the guys? If you remember Andy Reid with the Eagles, every single year with the playoffs, and you give him a great team, you give him a great squad, and not able to do it. What was the knock on Andy Reid? Can't win the big one. Okay. Was going to take the job here in Arizona, and then he took the Kansas City job instead. Okay, and you guys know the story: Super Bowls, right? Now, would he have done it here? I don't know. Maybe. I think had he come here, and had to deal with Steve Keim as GM, that might not have been good, right? Now, Monty was a GM. I think it would have been all right. But either way, it doesn't matter. We moved on. But, it is something to think about here on why the media creates these hot seats. Either way, end of the day, he's right. If JG doesn't deliver a playoff team this year, they're going to start talking about him next year as a guy that has like maybe a year left before he has to go. Because that's the thing about the NFL, man. We want everything, done right now. And that's just kind of how it is. So, there you go, folks. All right, here's an odd story, literally odd. The betting odds in the Cardinals. Okay. Now, I didn't look at the ones about how many wins, whether we're going to make the playoffs, nothing. I went to go look at the weird stuff. Okay. FanDuel has the following odds, right? So, the sportsbooks are going nuts as we get ready for the start of the NFL regular season. And some of the odds I've seen on the Cardinals have been kind of interesting. For Kyler, the odds for Kyler Murray to be MVP this year, plus 5,000. Sorry, 5,000. Remember when Kyler was seriously in the discussion for MVP? Yeah. Pepper Schwarman remembers. All right. Coach of the year, Jonathan Gannon, plus 1,400. They can eat it with this one. If the Cardinals have a solid record and make the playoffs, and that the odds have to be better than this, right? So we'll see on that one. Defensive rookie of the year, Will Johnson's at plus 2,500. Already down in the young corner. They are anyway. But there's plenty of competition with guys like Abdul Carter with the Giants. And in-house with the Cardinals, Jonathan Birch seems to be a big steal for the Cardinals out of Oregon. Honestly, that is a wild thing. I think we might have gotten 2 steals in this draft between Will Johnson and Birch. So Jordan Birch, sorry, Jordan, not Jonathan, Jordan Birch. But yeah, it's those are just wild odds for sure. And then AP NFL Assistant Coach of the Year, they have Drew Petzing at plus 3,300 and Nick Rallis at plus 4,000. Those make sense. Yeah, I'm all right with those. Those make sense. Anyway. So that's just interesting. Anyway, seriously, when they made gambling, online gambling illegal in a bunch of states, it feels like bettors have taken over social media. Like the sports discussion is garbage with them, right? A bunch of them take it further, DMing players complaining that they mess up their parlay. And if you DM a player to complain about your garbage parlay that wasn't going to hit anyway, Look, I hope you bet your rent and your mortgage money. That's just what I hope, okay? And I hope you have to explain it to somebody. I can't stand bettors that go after players because they lost your parlay. Oh, you lost my parlay. Like, they give a crap about your parlay, dog. Relax. I hope you lost all that money. I really do. Because that's garbage. Don't be DMing players and coaches like crap. Or in the fighting world, don't be DMing fighters, okay? Eat it. Just take your L. You deserve it. All right. Hot take. Not a huge one, but 2 more weeks until the NFL season kicks off. Real football, real sports. It's time to care about real sports, ladies and gentlemen. The NBA season is a long one. And with the style of play going from, it used to be a game of toughness and, almost like call your own fouls type of deal and strategy. And now it's analytics and who could chuck up as many threes as possible. It's boring at this point. Like, even the finals are boring. These guys are just jacking up threes over and over again. No one's going to the hole. No one's hitting, no one's hitting picks, nothing. Right? Baseball. Don't even get me started on baseball. Can we just skip to October? There's too many games. The action is slow, even with all the changes they've made. And really nothing to care about until the playoffs. And even at that playoffs. Like, right? If you look at the playoffs in the NBA and Major League Baseball, right? It's always just those fan bases that care. When it comes to football, people pick sides. They pick sides. Eagles, Chiefs last year. Eagles, Chiefs, no, the year before? Last year. Yeah, last year. Okay? Even if you weren't a Chiefs fan or an Eagles fan, you picked a side. And that's how it goes, right? That's why football is king. But yes, football. It is back. Every game matters. Every play matters. Every injury is huge. Every trade, every acquisition, everything is massive in football. It's time for a real sport to return, ladies and gentlemen. And it comes back in 2 weeks when the Cardinals kick off the NFL season, our NFL season, against the Saints. And a couple of days before that, I think it's Eagles-Cowboys on Thursday night. So there you go. All right, folks. That's going to do it for today's Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. Follow on all the socials. Hit that sub button. Hit that bell button. Come back tomorrow for more Cardinals football. 2 weeks, folks. Get ready. Go Cards.